Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome back to In Case You Missed It, where I take a look at the events that happened during the day and I pass them along to you as often as not with some comments by me, because perhaps in your busy day you didn't have time to keep up with what was going on during the day. So here you have me to do it for you and pass it along in case you missed it. And incidentally, the reason I can do this is because I'm a sole proprietor. I'm a commercial real estate broker in New York City, and if I want to slack off, I can do it. Well, I mean, I don't really slack. Okay, yeah, I do. I really do slack off. I just get tired of looking at real estate listings all day, and so I'll just pull up another browser and just look at what's going on, read some news events, and then I print them out and I read them later, and now I talk about them. And some of you, I guess you don't have that opportunity, or perhaps you work for the United States government and you're watching pornography on the internet all day, and you can't be distracted by your jobs or your duties that you're being paid for, or for things that are happening in the world that could impact your life. I mean, pornography is important. I understand that if you work for the government. Anyhow, I usually talk about a news event, something that happened, and today I'm going to do something a little different because I mentioned in an earlier video that I'm a conservative. I don't belong to any political party, though, so that makes it easy for me to criticize the Republican Party. It was hard to do at first because I was a Republican for a while, and that makes it hard. But now I'm not one, and so I can let it rip, and that's what I do. And one thing, or I should say one person, that is hard to defend is this president, Donald Trump, whom I have to defend because he's the best thing that I have going for me as far as having a conservative president goes. And I have to admit that he has kind of governed in that way, and I really couldn't complain, but what I could complain about is he, as I've said before, does not have the temperament to be president, and he does stupid things. And that's why, if I can put in a little plug for myself here, I hope that you will share this video and my other videos and help me to become enormously popular, because it would be nice if I got popular enough that people that work for the president, that are in the White House or in the Republican Party, would hear what I have to say and pass it along. So if you agree, then helping me pass it along is the same as you passing it along. So now this is going to sound like a non sequitur, but bear with me here. Everybody knows what the Miranda warning is, right? The Miranda warning is if a suspect is arrested for a crime, he's read his rights. And I'm going to put it up on the screen, and I'm going to read the Miranda warning right now just so we can all review, be on the same page. Pretend that you've been falsely, or maybe honestly, accused of a crime. You've been arrested, and I'm the arresting officer, so I'm going to say to you, quote, "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Absolutely free of charge." I mean, this is quite a deal. You might want to commit a crime just to get a free attorney. I mean, look at what lawyers cost. But I digress. Sorry, that's not part of the warning, the official warning. I threw that in. Then do you understand the rights I have just read to you? And unless you're a complete idiot, okay, you understood that. So there you go, the Miranda warning. And why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing it up because we have a president. He's not under arrest, and I don't expect him to be, but this Miranda warning, it has a nice warning for him. Number one is, you have the right, Donald Trump, to remain silent, and you really should exercise that right. I wish some New Yorkers on the subway would exercise that right a little bit more, but what you have to understand is you have to not talk so much, and you got to cut back on the tweeting. I would just stop it, because number two, anything you say can and will be used against you, not in a court of law, but in the marketplace of ideas and in the press. So you have to understand that when you just tweet something, and, well, a perfect example would be the appointment of a special prosecutor. What that was supposed to do for you, Donald Trump, was with the special prosecutor conducting an investigation, any questions put to you or your staff, you could just say, well, the special prosecutor is conducting an investigation and I just can't comment. But of course, you have to comment with your tweets, and every time you do that, you provide ammunition to your enemies, which is the entire press. And you say something and they're going to take it and they're going to run with it. And even if it's something that's to you innocent, they're going to run with it. And that's what happened when you fired Comey and you talked about it. And now the Washington Post is reporting that you're being investigated for obstruction. And there's nothing you can say except to tweet your anger about it. And when you do that, that just provides further ammunition. An example of the damage that it's causing to you, and what you have to understand, because this is another problem with this president, is he is totally self-absorbed, cares only about himself, and he doesn't understand that if Republicans lose the House of Representatives, it's all over for him. I've said this in the past, and if he goes down, and I don't mean being impeached or thrown out of office, I just mean losing elections, he takes the rest of the party with him, and he becomes incapable of governing without having the House and the Senate in Republican control, and he's going to damage himself, and he doesn't seem to see it, and he doesn't seem to care. He doesn't understand that one of his primary tasks, if he wants to govern, and if he wants to get reelected, and if he doesn't want to find himself in the middle of an impeachment hearing, he has to get Republicans reelected in 2018. That's what he should be working for, and he should not be working against himself by saying things and tweeting things when he doesn't have to that are going to hurt him and hurt the party. And I just don't understand why he does that. So, Donald Trump, please stop the tweeting. And here's another example of how it hurts him. I mentioned in an earlier video that in his cabinet meeting that he had last week, that was videotaped and broadcast everywhere, he talked about an initiative to provide vocational training for people that need work and for whom a college degree would not be appropriate and too expensive. That's a wonderful program, and what he could have been doing, what he should be doing, is he could have been speaking in front of, say, young people. He could visit car dealership with auto mechanics, manufacturing facility, tool and die shop with welders and lathe operators and so on and so forth, and promoting this really valuable program. And instead, we get stuff like this. He goes and he starts tweeting. These are tweets. I'm going to put them up on the screen there. Two tweets here. Crooked H, Crooked Hillary, destroyed phones with hammer, bleached emails, and had husband meet with Attorney General days before she was cleared. And they talk about obstruction. Unquote. Second tweet, quote, why is it that Hillary Clinton's family and Democrats' dealings with Russia are not looked at, but my non-dealings are? Now, what is the point of that? What does he accomplish by doing this? It takes the attention completely away from a very worthy program that he is promoting, or should be promoting, and it takes away from promoting tax plan, promoting health care plan. It just takes away, and for what? Hillary Clinton is not going to be president. Bill Clinton is out of the White House. It serves no purpose. So I'm going to help you here, Mr. Trump. And, well, I'm not going to help you. Another president, our greatest president, is going to help you, and that was Abraham Lincoln. He was a lot like you in at least this respect. I thought Abraham Lincoln was a lot more suited for the office than you are, but please don't take that as an insult, because he was better suited for the office than I would say any other president that came before or since. And I think any other president who came before or since would probably agree with that. But here are the two problems that Abraham Lincoln had. First with the Civil War, and second with his own personality, and here's how he solved both. Now, the first problem was a series of bad generals, which he solved very well by appointing Ulysses S. Grant to conduct the war, and then victory followed after that. But before he got to that that point. He had to go through McClellan, who would drill the army and prepare and prepare and prepare and never attack. And then he went through all the way through Gettysburg with Meade, who won in Gettysburg and then failed to follow up by pursuing Lee when he was on the run and weak. And when these generals would, let's just be frank, when these generals would screw up, he would grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and he would fire off an angry letter to this general or that general, just lambasting them for their incompetence and for their inability to lead. And he would write these angry letters, and then, this is the key part, Mr. Trump, he would take the letter and he would open his desk drawer and he would put the letter in the drawer and he would never send it because he got his anger off his chest, but he understood that it would do no good to send such a letter to his generals. It wouldn't help them perform any better. It would serve no purpose. And this is a lesson I learned in my own personal life. I do it all the time, actually. I get a stupid landlord or a broker or an idiot customer, and I'll write an angry, well, not a letter these days, it would be an email, but I'll write a 10, 15, 20 paragraph email, just getting out all the points that I'm angry about. And then before I hit that send button, I would just go through the letter and delete almost every paragraph. And I'd be left with, I don't know, 2 sentences that I would just send asking for whatever it was that I wanted. So that's my advice to you, Mr. Trump. If you have to do these tweets, compose the tweets and don't hit that tweet button. That's all. Then delete it. Get it off your chest and then delete it. And then do what Barack Obama did. He would do innocuous tweets and then he would do a Saturday morning message, this tradition of Saturday morning radio messages, and everything prepared, everything thought of in advance. And this was a guy who had the press on his side. You have the whole press against you, and I cannot understand why you do these stupid things. Getting back to this Miranda warning, anything you say can and will be used against you. So the less you say, the less they have to use against you. It's really that simple. If you would just learn to control yourself and think before you act, you're not 13 years old after all, you're 70, no, happy birthday, Donald, you're 71 now, okay, 71, you should learn to control your temper. And there's also lithium for that too, so maybe stop by the Naval Hospital and pick up a prescription, but you got to do something. And that's it for today. I'll be back soon with more news, more comments, and filling in the blanks in case you missed it.
You got a plan, darling?
I always got a plan. They don't ever work, but I always got one.